Hey Stampers, this is Sarah with Stinkincutecards.com, and I have the last of February's Take 3 cards. We are using the Hoppy Together, which is a real fun stamp set that's available during celebration free with a qualifying order. So I just love these guys. They're, kind of whimsical and fun, and they actually will work for many different occasions. So this is the card that we are doing today, or we did at the Take 3 class, and we are using Gorgeous Grape, Granny Apple, and Grapefruit Grove. So that was the color combo that we used on the color swatch. So this is just a real quick little window card. And Let's Get Together and Giggle is also another one of the celebration options too. So I'm going to show you the differences between Stazon and Memento and when you need to use that with this card. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's work on the inside and outside first. What I did was I went ahead and when you stamp on acetate, because it is a smooth surface, you're going to need Stazon. There's nothing for it regular ink to soak into, and Stazon is a solvent-based ink. So what it'll do is it'll evaporate off of the solvent, off of the window sheet here, the acetate. It'll evaporate into the air and it will dry that way, versus a regular pad which soaks into the paper, drying into the paper. So that's why you need to use Stazon. Anytime you want to stamp on acetate and keep it, or any smooth surface, any non-porous surface, that's when you're going to want to stamp with acetate or with Stazon. So let's go ahead. I've got this already set up. So all we have to do is ink this up with the Stazon. And one of the things that works really well, it comes with a clear lid on the inside, and you need to keep that with the ink pad. Reason being is, again, it will evaporate, and so it helps keep the evaporation down. One of the things that I've did is I went ahead, you can kind of see it right there, I put a dimensional or two in the lid so that it stays with the plastic lid, stays with the real lid when it's open, so then you don't have to deal with it and get your fingers all inky and everything. So that's just your little public service announcement for the day. So I just inked that up with the Stazon, and we're going to go ahead, shut it, and give it a little walk on the wild side. Now, if for some reason, mine looks pretty good, but if for some reason that it smears, especially if you're not using the Stamparatus, if it smears or, for some reason it doesn't look good, all you need to do is take a paper towel, get yourself some of the Stazon cleaner that we have in the catalog, and you can just wipe it off and start all over again. So that's one of the beauties of stamping with the Stazon, is that you do have a little bit of wiggle room, or non-wiggle room, I guess is what you have some chances to rinse and repeat. So, all right, we're going to change this up. Now what I've got is the Memento, and that is the ink pad that you're going to want to use when you go ahead and use your blends. Because the Stazon is a solvent-based ink and your blends are alcohol-based, it's going to react and bleed if you use the Stazon with the Memento. So, if you use the Stazon with your blends, it will bleed and you will have a mess. So what you want to use is the Memento when you're using your blends. And we're just going to go ahead and do that again. All right. The beauty of that too is when you're using the Stamparatus is that if for a reason you want this a little bit darker, you can go ahead and, oh, that's not dark enough. We can go ahead and do it again and it'll be perfectly lined up. So use your Stamparatuses, they're awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and what you're going to use, I use the Granny Apple Green and the Calypso Coral and the Smoky Slate to go ahead and watercolor my little froggy, and it's going to look like that. Okay, and we're going to add our little frog for the outside. Go ahead and stamp him. We're going to punch him out with a 2-inch circle punch. Okay, and we will watercolor him up as well. Okay, so what you're going to do with your layer, now what we're basically doing is we are going to take and sandwich acetate in between your top layer and your bottom layer, and that is how you have your little window, your peekaboo window here. Now, one of the things that I think works the best is if you were to take designer paper, because it's thinner, and cardstock, just gently, well, I guess if you're using designer paper, you could go ahead and attach them. Then you're going to use your rectangle framelit and send it through. Now, if you're using 2 layers of cardstock, you're going to need to run it through 2 or 3 times for sure, just simply because you're going through 2 layers of cardstock with your framelit, and you have to get through both layers. Another option is to run it through this way, attach it here, and then set it in here and go ahead and run it through again. So those are your options. You have 2 ways to do that. Personally, I like the designer paper with your regular cardstock. Because it's, you know, basically 1.5 layers. Does that make any sense? I'm not sure if it does. So once your opening is made, what you're going to do is you're going to take that piece, then you're going to go ahead and take the piece with the opening and run it through your folder. I like to call this the Froggy Spot folder. I believe it's called Dot to Dot, and it's on page 25 of the spring catalog. So it's really cute. I love how it kind of just reminds me of Frog Spot. So I like to call it the Froggy Spot folder. So what you've got then is you've got an opening here and you got an opening here with the folder. Now, I wouldn't recommend running your folder through first and then die cutting your opening, simply because you want this as textured, and when you run that through your plate a second time, through your Big Shot the second time, it's going to smoosh all your spots. So that's why I don't recommend it going that way. All right, so we're just going to use the bone folder, get this nice and crisp, and I'm just going to grab some glue dots. And what I found works the best is just to go ahead and put a little bit of a glue dot in each of the 4 corners, because again, all we're doing is we're trapping this window sheet in between the 2 layers. And so it'll look just like that. Isn't that cute? All right, then we're going to take the other one and we're going to add some dimensionals to pop that up. And let's go ahead and add those there. Okay, then go ahead and add our layer on the top. And if I have set my Stamparatus up correctly, our sweet little frog should be peeking through the window. Isn't that cute? Totally cute. And then it's just a matter of adding the other little frog to your image. I used the Grapefruit Grove and Calypso Coral pieces. I'm going to use a 1-inch strip and 3/4 of an inch strip, and we're just going to add that there. Attach our little flag banner here. I'll be able to see our giggle. Add the Grapefruit Grove. Now, attaching our one of the really cool things is Stampin' Up! Announced recently that starting March 1st, we are going to have framelits that will cut these little frogs out, and it has a little lily pad. It is so stinking cute, and I can hardly wait to get my hands on them to go ahead and work with that. So. Okay. So that is... Here's our card, outside, inside, and again, it's just another stinking cute little card. And if you have any questions about Rewards Club or my Take 3 classes, please visit my website at www.stinkincutecards.com. Thanks.